Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cajun Insider. My name's Abdul Abu Saad. Alongside with me is my co-host, Banyan Turner. Good morning, Banyan. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. You showed up a little late, I see, but you might be ready to get started, are you?
Sure am.
All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to Cajun Insider. Me and Banyan, we're on Cajun Sports Talk, and we are over here for something dedicated to Louisiana athletics, and so that's what we are here for. So this is going to be your outlet for Ragin Cajun athletics, right here, presented to you by The Know. All of these streams will come on Fridays, right here at Be In The Know. So don't forget to follow Be In The Know on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever we are at. And this is where we are going to be live streaming on Fridays. I think today will be the only time we will go live at 9:30. I'm thinking of a little later time. We'll discuss it after this. But just know we will be here on Fridays. Good morning to you, Holt. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, so Louisiana Ragin Cajuns football. Last week, they faced the McNeese Cowboys here at home at the new Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium. We won the game 34-10. It was a very good win. Realistically speaking, I personally think that final score was like 20-10. The team started to pull away, of course, towards the end of the game when McNeese was, in desperation time, just trying to get points. And so that's when the turnovers happened and the Cajuns just somehow were able to score 2 more touchdowns. Banyan, you were there. What are your thoughts on the Cajuns and what you saw last weekend at Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium?
Yeah, I think we actually did really good running the ball. I think Bill had, 130 yards?
He had 132 yards.
132. Yeah, he did really well. Daniel Beal still not there completely, but he didn't do terrible. But it's gonna be a real test for him tomorrow actually. So we'll see how he does. But if we can get the run game going, I think we can make it closer than people think. But if we got to start passing, it's not gonna look very well, I don't think.
Quarterback Daniel Beal, last week had only 86 yards passing. He went 14 for 20 out of 22. 86 yards and just a single touchdown. And so no interceptions. We didn't have any turnovers, which was good. I thought we played really good conservative offense. Now, as far as that was the passing game, not really that good. As far as the running game, the Cajuns had a total of 314 yards rushing the ball. Like we were just saying, 132 of those yards came from Bill Davis on 19 carries. He also had 2 touchdowns. Zylan Perry had 14 carries, 94 yards. He also almost had a 100-yard game. So right there, that right there is almost 230 yards worth of rushing. Even a freshman running back, Steven Blanco, had 69 yards and a touchdown on only 6 carries. So lots of good things that happen in the running game. You look at the passing game, going back to the passing game, your leading receiver was sophomore wide receiver Kadarius Wade. He only had 1 reception for 19 yards. That was your leading receiver, 19 yards right there. Shelton Sampson, who coming into this season we all thought would be the Cajuns' leading receiver, the big-time receiver, he only had 1 reception for 4 yards. He was targeted 5 times, dropped the ball 4 times, he only caught 1 of the 5 passes. So 4 incompletions to Shelton Sampson. Shelton Sampson now sits at 5 receptions on 18 targets. Despite that, he still leads the receivers in receiving yards. He has 63 yards receiving. He is the leading receiver right now. You go look at the stats. Your leading receiver right now, after 2 games, only has 63 yards. You'd think this offense is a run-heavy offense, which, to be honest, ever since Walker Howard got injured, that's pretty much all it's been. We've only had 2 games, though. I don't know when we expect Shelton Sampson to break out, if he will. Receiver who comes in from LSU, you would expect him to be your strong receiver that you're going to throw to during spring ball. I mean, that's all Walker Howard who was throwing to. We were expecting a really big season. I mean, how many yards did you say Shelton Sampson would have this season?
1,200.
1,200.
It's gonna be. I mean, it's also gonna be really hard with Beal, but
right.
yeah, I mean, him and Walker had that whole connection during the summer. Didn't work out game one, but who knows what would happen the rest of the season?
Right. We don't know. It's too early. And to his point, we've been through 2 weeks, and I'll be honest with you, we've played a somewhat decent opponent in Rice, or at least what we think now after we had lost to them. And of course, you play McNeese, which, although they're an FCS team, I kind of somewhat view them as a quality game, only because McNeese is going to come in here and fight for the win. It's McNeese. It's a rivalry between UL and McNeese. Whether you want to believe that or not, it is. And so, you have 2 games under your belt. Daniel Beal has started 1 game. It was his first start in his career. Remember, he is only a redshirt freshman. So, very young quarterback. We don't know what to expect from Daniel Beal. Now, don't forget, Coach Dez in the offseason did say that there was a quarterback competition, and he did not announce his starter until the week that we were playing Rice, or I think it was like the last few days before we played Rice. It was not announced that Walker Howard would be your starting quarterback. It was going to be either Daniel Beal or Walker Howard. Lunch was also in the mix, but I just never thought Lunch. When you look at Daniel Beal and Walker Howard's style of play, it's completely different from how I would think Lunch's game is going to be. So I think this was a battle between Daniel Beal and Walker Howard. Realistically, we knew Walker Howard was going to win the job. But Coach Dez did keep it a while. And we know Coach Dez doesn't like to announce things until it really needs to be announced. Whether you want to think of it that way or not, there was a quarterback competition between Daniel Beal and Walker Howard. So you would expect these 2 quarterbacks to at least be very similar. And if one goes down, the other can help pick this team back up. And I don't know if Daniel Beal last week really helped pick the team up. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought Daniel Beal had some, played mistake-free football. There were some passes where I thought, he could have thrown the ball better. Jake Strong last week against us for McNeese. I thought he played really well. I mean, he made passes rolling out that I mean, you would hardly see from an FCS quarterback, let alone, a group of 5 quarterback or something like that. I mean, he looked really good. Jake Strong looked really good, especially at the start of the game. I just don't know. Daniel Beal, I have high expectations for him only because this was a close competition between him and Walker Howard. We'll see how it ends up, but Shelton Sampson, right now, your starting receivers are Shelton Sampson, Charles Robertson, and Robert Williams, which we'll get to Charles Robertson in a minute because he's actually the new starter at the H position. But, I just hope this passing game improves. I don't know if this game against Missouri is going to help this week in terms of that, and then we'll go into that in just a second when we start talking about Missouri. But, on the defensive side of things, I thought the Cajuns have looked really, really good these first 2 games. They've only allowed a total of 22 points in these 2 games against Rice. Sorry, no, not 22, 24. You allow 14 points against Rice and then only 10 points against McNeese. 24 points. So you're averaging 12 points a game. Really good. Second half defense is really important. The Cajuns have only allowed 3 points in the second half this season. 0 to Rice and 3 to McNeese. Those are the only points scored in the second half, or allowed, that the Cajuns have allowed all season so far in these first 2 games. I know we say all season, but just 2 games. So they've had really great second halves. They forced 2 turnovers against McNeese, and they only allowed 238 yards. You only allowed 251 yards against Rice, so 500 yards. You're only allowing an average of about 245 yards in these 2 games. It's good. Now, is it coming against quality opponents? No. But, when you're allowing only 245 yards, that's pretty good, regardless of what level you play in.
Just got to score points.
You just got to score points. And we couldn't do that against Rice. Look, Rice was a very weird situation because Rice's new offense, new scheme, new quarterback. We didn't know what to expect. It's a week 1 game. It was. I don't know who scheduled the game, but if I was Rice, Rice knew what they were doing. I don't know who scheduled the game, but Rice knew that coming into this game, they would have an advantage because they're coming in with a new scheme. Obviously, they know what they're doing. We don't. And they got the better of us. So that was that. So that's last week. The Cajuns tomorrow are going to be facing the number 25 ranked Missouri Tigers. They're actually flying out today at 3 p.m. to Columbia, Missouri, to go play the game tomorrow. The game actually got moved up from 3 p.m. to 12 p.m. Bamian texted me yesterday, and he was like, look, they moved the game up. And I'm like, I wonder why they did that. Well, turns out Missouri said, according to a release by Missouri, they said forecasted extreme heat in Columbia, and after consultation with the National Weather Service and our safety partners. It sounds confusing. They added on by saying, with extreme heat in the forecast, especially late in the afternoon, we believe it is necessary to kick off earlier in the day to ensure the safest and most enjoyable experience possible for everyone who will be a part of Saturday's sold-out game at Memorial Stadium. Now, my typical self and my analytic self would go and go check the temperature and see which was better, right? Between 12 and 3:30 p.m., it's 93 degrees on average, and the UV index is 6, which is high. From 3 to 6:30 p.m., your average temperature is 91 degrees and only 2 UV index, which is low. You would think that a 3 o'clock game is better. So I don't know where it came from that they moved the game up, but I did go to ChatGPT because that's me. And it explained some scientific stuff to me. I think it's because, and you probably know this because we do high school football. Late afternoons hold more, the turf during late afternoons hold more heat. Just in general, the air holds more heat because the heat has been absorbed already. Maybe, I think that's the explanation to it, which is why late afternoons are hotter than like early afternoons. I don't know. But the game got moved up. It is now at 12 p.m. It is a sold-out crowd, so we are expecting 63,000 fans to be in attendance. It's going to be a big energy, lots of energy in the stadium. 63,000 fans and a team that is ranked. This is going to be a very tough matchup for the Cajuns. A couple of things injury-wise. Starting left guard Caden Morrow is going to be out this week. Backup center Matthew Broussard is going to be taking that left guard role. So he is your backup center, and he's a redshirt sophomore, by the way, 6'3", 305 pounds. He's going to be taking that left guard position, and he's going to be starting there. It's going to be, I believe, his first start of his career. He doesn't really have much collegiate experience. He has played in games for UL, but he doesn't have the starting experience and all that. And to be fair, coming into the season, half of this offensive line was pretty much in a similar situation. So nothing really new. Offensive line last week, played really well. When you're when you're rushing for 314 yards, that's a really good rushing performance by the offense and a great performance by the linemen. But your starting left guard's now out. You're having to replace him with a new player. Backup right guard Mackie Milo is going to be out, and also backup right tackle John Bragg left the team this week, according to Coach Dez. He doesn't want to play football anymore. So you lose one lineman for the season, and then you lose another 2 for this week, at the very least. For an offensive line that did really, really good last week against McNeese. So that's that. As far as some roster moves, backup wide receiver Charles Robertson has now taken the starting H role, which was previously held by Jaden Johnson. So we do have a change here. And my assumption is, look, both of these receivers so far this season only have one reception. They're short reception, so they haven't done anything. Both receivers have similar traits, but Jaden Johnson is your bigger receiver. This is a sign that UL this week wants to move that ball downfield and hopefully have some big plays through the passing game. They want to get to some, have some speed, get the ball downfield, have Daniel Beal launch the ball quite a bit if he can, just getting receivers open. And I believe that's what Charles Robertson's going to try to do, is beat these defenders with speed. On the defensive side of things, freshman cornerback Brent Gordon Jr. out of Cecilia. He is going to be earning his first start of the season this week. He is going to be starting. So now your starting cornerbacks are Cortland Flowers and Brent Gordon Jr. And that's pretty much that for the changes. Everything else is pretty much going to be the same as it was last week. Your starting receivers, like I said, Shelton Sampson's up there. He's still up there. I mean, we really haven't seen much from the receivers to really change the depth chart. But at the same time, when your receiver has already dropped, 14 passes now or 13 passes, or has not completed 13 of his targets, that is an issue. And look, I got a chance to quickly speak to him after last week's game. And I told him, man, when are we going to tighten things up? When are we going to tighten things up? I told him, look, I got your back, man, but you just got to tighten things up. We got your back, though. So hopefully things turn around this season or this week, and we can see something good out of Shelton Sampson and all the other receivers. So that is that on the Cajuns. We're going to move on to Missouri and talk about them. The team is now 2-0. They've played 2 games against Central Arkansas and Kansas. They average, right now, a whopping 50.5 points per game.
Yeah, I think that's 5th in the nation.
It's up there.
It's either 5th for points or yards, maybe both.
Maybe both.
I think it's like 11th for points and 5th for yards.
Quarterback Bo Pribula is actually 617 yards right now, and his quarterback rating, as I looked at it this morning, was ranked 17th. So definitely in the top 25. Maybe the passing yards is top 10. I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't able to check on that. But check it out for me real quick. Senior quarterback Bo Pribula so far in 2 games has 617 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. In his first 2 games. 79% completion. And remember, he is replacing quarterback Sam Horn, who got injured, I believe, on the first play of their first game against Central Arkansas. And ever since, Bo Pribula has been, taking charge and is expected to be that starting quarterback for quite some time now. So you got a really talented quarterback for Missouri, okay? You also have sophomore running back Ahmad Hardy, who, if you remember, is from ULM. He has rushed so far for 212 yards on 35 carries and 2 touchdowns. By the way, last season, he had 1,400 rushing yards at ULM and 13 touchdowns at ULM. UL last season played ULM. Can you guess how many yards Ahmad Hardy had against us?
60?
He had 172 yards rushing. That was the most that UL allowed for a runner to rush in a single game last season, by a single player last season. Your second most that UL allowed was Mekhi Hughes, which was 166 yards against Tulane last year. Ahmad Hardy for ULM had 172 yards against us. And that was the game we had won by 2 scores in Monroe. So this is a very talented running back, and that explains why he is at Missouri right now. You also got sophomore running back Jamal Roberts, who is averaging 8.5 yards a carry. So you have two running backs similar to like we have Bill Davis and Zylan Perry that are moving the ball really well for Missouri. As far as the receiving game, Pribula does like to spread the ball around. He has spread the ball around to receivers like Marquis Johnson, tight end Brett Norfleet, Joshua Manning. But his receiver that he's mainly thrown to is Kevin Coleman Jr., who so far has 16 receptions for 174 yards and a touchdown. So that is Missouri offensively. They look really good. You're averaging 50.5 points per game, including, one of those games being against, I know one of the games was against Central Arkansas, which I believe is a FCS school, but you also play Kansas. And Kansas versus Missouri is always if I'm not mistaken, it's a rivalry, but it's a really good game.
Missouri did not look good in the first quarter. They were down, I think, 21-6. I think they scored the first drive, and then Kansas got hot. Bro Priblia, I think he fumbled on a read option, and then was returned for 6, and then they just didn't look good the first quarter, and then they just came out. Both running backs did really well. Quarterback did great. They picked it up in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, won all those quarters, and just blew out Kansas at that point.
Yeah. So you're looking at a really, really good offense from Missouri, which is why they're ranked 25. On the defensive side of things, they've only allowed 18.5 points. So, and remember, they've played Kansas. They've only allowed, 12 points so far? They've only played McNeese and Rice. So, difference over here. But to each in their own, respective levels. It's good. Your linebacking core at Missouri can stop the run, okay? Which is an issue for our running back crew. Look, you only allow 6 points to Central Arkansas, 31 points to Kansas. Kansas was a shootout against Kansas. Ultimately, Missouri won that game, ran away with that win. As far as your linebackers at Missouri, you got Josiah Trotter, you got Jeremiah Beasley. Guess what? They only allowed 31 rushing yards to Kansas. So
that's what I was looking up. I'm pretty sure they didn't run the ball very well.
No, they did not. I think their leading rusher was Kansas quarterback.
Yeah, he did.
He was their leading rusher. So they only ended up with 31 yards rushing. So you look at this Missouri team and their linebacking, core. And then I think against Central Arkansas, they allowed 135 yards rushing, 150 yards rushing, somewhere in that realm. You only allow 31 yards to Kansas. So this is, and by the way, you blow out Central Arkansas like 61-6 or something like that. So I'm assuming the backups were in, and I'm not sure how the 135 yards against Central Arkansas, or Central Arkansas had against Missouri came from. I'm not sure if it was in the second half. I didn't read that deep, but maybe it was. Either way, it was a blowout against a FCS school, and against Kansas, they only allow 31 rushing yards. So clearly there's a really good linebacker core there. You look at their safeties and DBs, just really their DBs. They have a really deep safety core, and they have cornerbacks that can go fly around and catch passes. They have the defense has 2 interceptions so far on the season. So that is that on Missouri. You have anything else that I didn't mention about Missouri?
No, we do cover everything. Just offense really good, defense even better. So we'll see. No one's expecting us to win this game, but we just got to show them that we can fight and just at least keep it somewhat close. Try to see if we can run the ball and just see what happens.
Cajuns are 27.5-point underdogs against Missouri. I think the spread is what, 40? The over-under's 47.5, somewhere about there. So people are predicting a 37-10 type of game, somewhere in that realm, 37-10. All right, Banyan, it's time for predictions. Here's my prediction. I think Daniel Beal's going to finish with 120 yards passing. I do think he gets a touchdown and an interception. I also do have UL rushing for 200 yards. Look, I think, offensively this season, now that you're losing Walker Howard, you lose Walker Howard, you got Daniel Beal. And look, you haven't seen much from your receivers to aid this offense so far. this offense has looked very bleak in terms of the passing game, both with and without Walker Howard. You'll also have a shakeup in the offensive line. Two of your linemen are out for this week, including a starter. You lose another lineman who left the team. You have an unstable quarterback situation with Daniel Beal, who, like I said in the beginning, I have high expectations for because this was a quarterback that was in a quarterback competition with Walker Howard. So I'd expect him coming into this game that he is going to be someone who can step up and be the Chandler Fields of 2024 and 2023. The quarterback who will step up and take over for Ben Wooldridge and just keep this offense rolling as if nothing happened. And that's what Coach Dez has made it seem like so far, and I hope it is that way. I know Daniel Beal is young, which is why, although I have high expectations for him, I understand he is young. He has been thrown into the fire a couple of times. The 2 games that he has started so far, or played in so far, against Marshall last season in the Sun Belt Championship game, he just got thrown into the fire. And this past week against McNeese, he just, he was not announced the starting quarterback until 3 days before the game. So he's gotten thrown into the fire. And so I when you look at this receiving core, who hasn't done much, you've only thrown for 150 yards over 2 games? We're kind of looking like Rice over here. Rice only threw for 50 yards. And they had a really good running game. So I don't know.
We have 182 yards.
182 yards passing. So
total.
That is a stat that you would see against Rice. Like against McNeese, you'd expect 300 yards if you had a healthy starting quarterback, if Walker Howard was in, and not a quarterback who was thrown into the fire 2 days before the game. So a freshman quarterback. I saw a redshirt freshman quarterback too. So like I said, nothing against Daniel Beal. I think he's a great guy. I think he'll be a really great quarterback. You just look at him in high school. He was a really great quarterback. He has legs too. He can move. So we'll see. But my prediction is that Daniel Beal will finish with 120 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think UL is going to have 200 yards rushing. They had 314 against McNeese. I think the rushing game is what's going to drive UL this season, as far as what I'm seeing, because it doesn't look like we're going to get much out of this passing game, at least not yet. I do see it improving, however, which is why I have Daniel Beal getting 120 yards. But like I said, we're going up against a really good Missouri team, a really good Missouri defense, especially. Linebackers only allowed 31. They only allowed 31 rushing yards last week. And you got cornerbacks and safeties back there who are going to fly around. And Daniel Beal is going to have to be a really accurate quarterback and really make the right decisions for this to be a good game for him. My final score, I got Missouri winning this game 34-17. I do think the Cajuns do cover the spread. I think 27.5 is a little too large, in my opinion. I don't know how the game goes, realistically speaking. This team, we don't know much about this Cajuns team yet. We don't. You've played 2 opponents who we're like, well, we really should have beaten these 2 opponents. We were favored by 3 scores against 3 scores against Rice at one point. We were favored against McNeese by 3 scores as well. And yeah, we did beat them by 24 points. But like I said in the beginning, this game was really a 20-10 game until the 4th quarter when it was desperation time for McNeese and they just really needed to move the ball. So, it's kind of that we don't know what this team it really is yet. This game against Missouri will kind of test them. It'll really test them. You're going up against a top 25 team in an atmosphere where it's going to be a sold-out crowd in the middle of the heat. Not that the Cajuns aren't used to the heat, but yeah. So that's that on that. That's my prediction on that. Final score 34-17. Cajuns cover the spread. Bannon, what are your predictions for this game?
Not good. If Kansas can't run the ball, I don't see us running the ball either. I think we'll do better than that because they didn't run the very much. I think we'll get probably right under 100, low over 100. But passing yards, I don't trust Daniel Beal yet. I think he's gonna be fine. I mean, he's young. I mean, nothing's wrong with him right now. But I just think about going into that atmosphere against Missouri. I think it's gonna be a struggle, and he couldn't even get 100 against McNeese. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. I think he will probably go same as like the running game. I think he'll be under 100 or a little bit over 100.
So you're thinking this could be under 200 yards total for you?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I say around 2 to 250 yards total. But yeah, it's just a rough environment. I think he's gonna throw a pick or two, and I just think we don't even score 10 points. Maybe I think we lose 56-3 or 56-10. I don't know. I just haven't seen much yet, and it's just Missouri's gonna be a tough team to beat, especially after a scare last week. I think they're just gonna come out firing the ball and just cover the spread.
We don't know with this team.
Yeah.
It's as much as we've had high hopes for this team and high expectations for this team in the preseason, we've kind of been disappointed so far after 2 weeks. So far, I've been disappointed from what I've seen. I was disappointed from what I saw against Rice. McNeese, I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I kind of expected the game to be close anyways. We did break away in the end. So what happened against McNeese didn't surprise me for the good or for the bad. I thought that was right around where we were going to end up final score-wise. I was not expecting a really good rushing performance, but it's clear that Zylan Perry and Bill Davis are going to run the ball down the defense's throats. And so that's why I have them going for 200 yards. That's really the only thing that has driven this offense. And so if they're going to do anything against Missouri, it'll probably have to be on the running side of things. And so that's why I expect a higher running game. I maybe either, in my opinion, I think Zylan Perry or Bill Davis will have a 100-yard game. I know it's kind of a stretch, and it's kind of like a bold prediction, but that's what I got. So that's that. Cajuns versus Missouri, number 25 ranked Missouri. Holt does have a question for us. He asks us, how many points do the Cajuns need to score to cover plus 27?
I say 17 to 20.
I say 17, and my prediction is that the final score is going to be 34-17. So, if Missouri only scores 34 points, and look, we're talking about a really good Cajuns defense going up a really good Cajuns or Missouri defense. I'd say 34. It's going to be a high-scoring game for Missouri because of how high-powered their offense is. I just don't know how much this UL defense can handle on that perspective. We really haven't seen them play against competition like Missouri just yet. So I'd say 17. Yeah, I wouldn't say any lower. I mean, if they go 10... you're banking on 10 probably is your lowest for Cajuns to cover. We'll see. Last season, they played against TCU, who was a really good team. Obviously they were missing players in the bowl game, but, UL lost, 34-3 or something like that. If they scored 10 points, they would have covered a plus 27 spread. UL really doesn't allow... Look, UL really does do good against Power 5 schools. Last season, although you played a Wake Forest team that really wasn't good, you beat them. The year before, I forgot who we played the year before. It was Minnesota. Played a really good game. Minnesota won the game, but, it was a really good game for 3 quarters. It was a close game, could have went either way.
Yeah, the only problem is SEC school.
It is an SEC school. You're going up against
offenses in the country, so it's gonna be interesting.
34-17 is my prediction. His prediction is just like 56-3 or something 10, like that. Yeah. 53.
We don't score more than 10.
We'll see how that goes. The game's going to be on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus. I believe the game's going to be at 12 o'clock. So I look forward to seeing how the Cajuns do in that game. It'll kind of give us more insight on what we should expect from this team. Anything else to add?
I think so. We'll see how this week goes and regroup next week.
Sounds good. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to the Cajun Insider podcast. We are going to be back next week with another Cajun Insider segment right here on a Friday, here presented to you by The Know on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, and all the places that they stream. We're going to get TikTok up pretty soon as well. So we're working on that. So next week, I'm looking at potentially, I don't know, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, right before you have to head out. What time do you usually have to get
I have to be in Niche at 2:30, so
2:30.
That's fine.
We'll figure it out. So that's that. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Holt, for asking your questions and being a big supporter of Cajun Insider and, of course, Cajun Sports Talk. We'll be back live over here for Cajun Sports Talk Wednesday at 9 a.m. Come back over here at The Know. Be in the know. Next Friday, we will have a time announced for our new podcast episode of Cajun Insider. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, weekend. Good luck to the Cajuns. Good luck to everybody playing this weekend, and hope everybody has a safe weekend. Players and fans and everybody in the country alike. Thank y'all. Have a great rest of y'all's day.